too valuable to waste, so even limbs over 14 inches go to the mill. Our log, far too big for the twin saw, is set up on the vertical saw at the Northcliffe mill. The Northcliffe mill is set in the Karri country. The area of merchantable Karri forest has been estimated at 200,000 acres. Supplies are available in large quantities for perpetual cutting at the rate of 25 million super feet a year. Out of the yard at Northcliffe, a trainload of sawn Karri leaves on its way to the coast. Moving through the flower-decked forest and hauled by Old Faithful. Engine 109 was on the job when the mill was established in 1914. She's been hauling Karri ever since, and she can still pack a good head of steam. Through the forest and off to the sea coast, where we are welcomed by a speedboat on Bunbury harbour with its glistening hull of Karri plywood. Bunbury, where the railway goes to sea on a man-made forest of jarrah to load overseas ships waiting a half-mile offshore to transport hardwoods to the four corners of the earth. All this timber is examined and certified by the Forestry Department officials before it leaves our shores. Timbers for the sea walls of the storm-lashed coasts of Britain. Forks of Karri for the United Kingdom, the continent, and South Africa. Thousands of feet of these long, straight hardwoods act as guides for mine cages to plummet into the bowels of the earth. At Kalgoorlie, 300 miles inland from the coast, there is 8,000 feet of Karri mine guides in one mine alone. This is the main shaft of the North Kalgoorlie mine, where the men enter the cage to drop 2,100 feet at 110 feet per minute safely to the workings below, guided the whole way on 8 by 4.5 inch Karri guides that have been in use since 1912. This is the Golden Mile, where at the Great Boulder Mine, 10,000 tons of ore are lifted to the surface each week. Grinding, crushing and roasting has reduced that great mass to the contents of this smelting crucible, gold in liquid form. The result for 1 week's work, 45,000 pounds in gold brought from the bowels of the earth on KAURI Mine Guides. Kalgoorlie is the starting point of the Transcontinental Railway with its ultra-modern diesel-electric trains which carry passengers in air-conditioned comfort 2/3 of the way across Australia. The Jarrah sleepers on which the track is laid have already given service for over a quarter of a century, and that without the use of any preservative treatment. In fact, there is only one other timber which compares with Jarrah for this purpose, and that is Wandoo. This species, often found on the fringe of the Jarrah country, is one of the most durable of the eucalypts. It is unfortunate that Wandoo is somewhat scarce, for used as railway ties, it has an even longer life than Jarrah. Wandoo, as well as Jarrah and KAURI, is used for cross-arms on the telephone and telegraph poles that interlace the continent. Pipes of KAURI timber once formed part of the 300-mile pipeline which since 1903 has supplied the goldfields with water from Mundaring Weir, the longest pipeline in the southern hemisphere. The weir is just 30 miles from Perth itself, a city of wide, clean streets and modern buildings. Seen from Kings Park, the buildings add grace to the gentle curves of the Swan River. The Narrows Bridge, with its graceful approaches, is a monument to the mastery of Perth's traffic problems. It is interesting to note that during construction, these great concrete arches were supported on KAURI piles. 12 miles away on the coast is Fremantle, port of the capital. The wharves here have been built of Jarrah for as long as anyone can remember. In 1912, they demolished the old long jetty, built 40 years before, of Jarrah. The timber was so well preserved, it was thought fitting that it should have a place in Perth's Parliament House. So they dressed the timber and from it built the Speaker's chair with its ornate screen, and there it stands for all time, a perfect example of the beauty and durability of this native timber. On the carpet of the House of Representatives is woven the black swan, emblem of Western Australia, for the black swan is only found in this region. And this is also true of the great timber trees that are the subject of our story. The noble trees of Jarrah and KAURI that stand and wait to be used in the service of mankind as they rise majestically from the floor of a forest bedecked for spring. Surrounded by the crowea and the kangaroo paw, they fall when their time comes, crushing the rainbow colours that carpet the forest floor. Nature has chosen this place and nowhere else in the whole world in which to build a garden where stand great trees, trees that symbolize her beauty and her strength.